Dance on Tables. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
We good? How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. Just doing my thing. What have you been up to? What's a day in the life like for the pair of you?
Pretty mundane if there's
Yeah.
there's no shows, coffee, biscuits. I saw you 12 hours ago at a Japanese house show.
What do you make of that?
It was very, very good. I enjoyed it. Didn't like that she brought her bass player as the support act, but I'll leave that there.
Don't tell Gregor, he'll get
Yes.
ideas.
I was thinking last night actually when we were watching a Japanese house. What was that? 800 cap venue?
800 cap, yeah.
I was thinking, because you were obviously standing next to myself, that the pair of you have played in a 13,000 cap venue.
Yeah.
Quite a jump.
We found out that we were playing the 13,000 cap venue when we were playing a 100 cap basement. So
Where were you playing when you found out?
in Liverpool.
Sound it's called.
Yeah.
And it was a leaky basement. It was actually it was leaking, and it was like the show was running late because they were showing the Liverpool game on the projector before, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't load in until the game's finished." And then
They're that hardcore about it.
yeah. And then we got like Neil brought us outside after we played, and he was like, "So just so you know, you need Thursday, Friday off." We're like, "Okay," and he's like, "'Cause you're playing like Catfish in the moment."
Yeah. Come on.
Wait, so you found out like 5 days before it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 days.
Had there been any like
We got so the tour manager messaged Neil on Twitter going, "What are the guys doing Thursday, Friday?" And Neil was like, recognised the guy's name, so kind of like looked him up, and he was like, "It's the tour manager, Catfish," and he was like. So then Neil like messaged being like, "The guys are free," but we were like, we didn't know what it was, and like it was like you didn't want to get your hopes up, and then like be brought down to it be like absolutely nothing or like never mind, or so we're like,
After show at Firewater.
yeah, we're like, so it's like an after show or like I don't know what it'll be, but it's not gonna be anything that exciting. And then like we actually like found out it was like, right, you've got like 4-5 days to prepare for like the biggest show.
We had
we had
like 5 minutes of jumping about, and then kind of reality settled, and we're all phoning our
the
bosses.
panic sets in.
Yeah, oh my god! Like, right, can you cover my shift on Thursday?
So was it Aberdeen on the Thursday and
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
do you know how they found out about you and how they like?
I think it was a promoter that we've worked with a couple of times in the past called Steve Tilley. They asked Steve if he had any like Scottish bands that he'd recommend. So he sent over like us amongst like a bunch of others, and then they just listened to them and went for us. So it was like very lucky that they liked us, and yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty mental. Did you notice like a jump in monthly listeners and stuff after it happened? And
Yeah, like listeners and like the amount of just like interaction on social media just went like crazy from that because
we got like 1,000 Instagram followers in a week.
what?
So it went from like 5,000 to 6,000. Yeah.
Start boosting you.
Just from them posting it and us playing the show. So it's been amazing. And as Callum said, like we tried before, like, oh, let's do like a live Q&A, and then you'd get like a few mates kind of commenting abuse, and you'd get a hello from somebody's mum or something like that. But now, like, you do something like that, and you've actually got people who want to be involved, which is nice.
What sort of stuff are you getting asked in a live Q&A?
Oh,
Other than the abuse that you're getting.
we did a when we released the last single, or the Christmas single that we did like, oh, like, ask us anything to celebrate the release. And like some of the I'm not even comfortable saying some of the questions now, never mind posting them in the story, like just from very innocent looking people going like, oh, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not.
Oh, you built it up now.
I got who shagged the most birds, and I'm like, you look like a 15-year-old girl. Why are you asking that? It's just like far like no details that you'd ever want to just tell a person you've never met before.
Just put it on the Instagram story.
How did the Christmas single go down? You just stuck out.
It was good. It was just like something kind of fun to do, like, because obviously we released Stay in October, and we hadn't released like much music like before Stay, like it was the EP, and then we knew that the next single we didn't want to bring out until the new year, so we're like, we need just something fun to like kind of stick out, and like it kind of worked well with like like having those like 2 like Catfish shows and then just like releasing like something for people to engage with as well. It was quite fun to record as well. We did it all ourselves, like for the first time. Gregor like got to be like the studio man for once, which was he was quite nice at it actually. I thought he was going to be a bit of a dictator, but he was calm in his element.
We like, because we had the idea of doing that song, but I hadn't practiced it or anything, so we just turned up on the day and we were like, right, let's give it a run through. Like, right, let's go for it. And we hadn't really talked about who was kind of singing what parts or anything. And I was like, well, all I really want to desperately do in this song is the big "It's Christmas" shout. It was like, you just do the rest, Callum. So yeah, it worked out really well. It's been cool. Like we've had like notifications of like shops putting us on their Christmas playlists and stuff. And I mean, it's never gonna like crack the Christmas market, that one song, but if you can, then you get a yearly nice boost. Yeah. So
when was the last time there was a big kind of Christmas song though?
I was expecting the John Lewis advert, so I mean I'm actually bitterly disappointed at how it went down, but
we did. I can't.
Was it always going to be that one, or do you have other contenders for what cover you maybe were going to do?
There was a couple that were mentioned, wasn't there? There was like, I mean, there was like, I think everybody wants to do like Last Christmas because it's just like the best Christmas song, but like everybody is like seems to do like a good cover of it, and I was like, I don't think we'll do a very good cover of it. So we were like, I don't know.
I think it was Hamish was just posted it. He was like, "What about this song?" And
that
everybody was like, "Yeah, that's
that
cool."
Christmas Stalking song. Like Gregor was like, "Oh, my dad says we should do this one." Yeah, that one is like, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. But yeah,
just released that.
Yeah, Gregor's dad was like, you guys should be doing this, and I was like, no.
That's normally a good indicator that we shouldn't be doing it. If one of our dads is promoting it,
pushing it forward to do it.
Yeah.
Have you played it live at all, or is it?
No, we didn't actually.
Cause you had your Christmas show at Page and Loy's, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was that a Christmas show? Was that just a?
It's just like
show?
a kind of like headline show. We'd not played that in like 2 years or something. In PJs anyway. So we were like, we thought about doing it, but then we'd also had like the last EP we did that Bruce Springsteen cover.
I noticed that actually, yeah. Because when I first saw that EP, I was like, did they know there's a song already called "Dancing in the Dark"? And then I put it on, and I thought, oh, it's a cover.
So we just accidentally wrote the exact same song, gutted.
Channeled in like Bruce and just came out with that. I don't know where I heard it from before. No, so we were like, didn't know whether to do like Christmas song or do like Bruce Springsteen cover, and then we were like, let's just do the Dancing in the Dark cover, and which was like great because we did that and just did it like just a guitar, and basically like everybody knows that song, so it was like a kind of moment I was just stealing it from Bruce a bit, just like getting everyone to sing along the words. Like
I think Sam Fender finished his set doing the exact same thing that same weekend, so
when I saw him in Glasgow, he finished on.
Sorry, Sam. This is our official apology to a man who doesn't know who we are.
But the guitarist knows.
No, the bass player. He's called Dean. Is Sam Fender's bass player, and he came into the restaurant that me and Gregor worked in once. He was like, "Oh my God, Robbie! Oh my God, that's Sam Fender's bass player." I was like, how do you know that? I recognise his hat.
Wait, is that the wee guy?
He's the
guitarist. Sitting down.
Not the bass
is he the
player.
guitarist?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's gonna be insulted now.
I've been calling him the bass player, and I think I put it on our story once. Whoops.
Gregor served him a burger at work, so
yeah, he still tells people.
Slipped a CD in the burger.
They also we'd recorded that Dance in the Dark cover when we were out in Nashville, and like it was literally hurricane warnings, and we weren't meant to leave. So we're in the studio and we're like, right, let's just do an acoustic cover or something.
Just smashing it Dancing in the Dark with winds back.
Yeah. So did that and then got back, and about a week later Sam Fender announced that he was like released the Dancing in the Dark version.
Like a session,
for fuck's sake.
Wait, did he actually put that out as a...
Yeah.
I didn't even realise it was out.
We recorded it.
I think he did like a session on like YouTube where he like did like a stripped back version of it as well, and we were like, oh fucking hell, like here we go. And then literally like couple like a month later we released the EP, and then like some person like puts like a screenshot of the Spotify Dance in the Dark on our Instagram story, and she's like, "Oh, these boys are gunning for you, Sam." Shut up.
When did you record the Christmas one? It
was like November or something. Oh no,
right.
October.
End of October, I think.
Yeah, it was like pretty quick turnaround. Like we were like, "Oh, should we just do it?" And we're like, "Okay, right, let's do it." So we just like went into like what's usually like our rehearsal space and just like recorded it there, like kind of in the room. But it was good fun to do actually. I'd like to do more stuff like that.
I had visions of you recording it like in summertime, but no.
I mean, we did release it in November, which is aggressively early too. But
it was quite early in November, wasn't it?
Yeah, before anyone was ready for Christmas.
People were still, still feeling spooky, and then we.
We weren't going to release it till December, and we were told, "Oh no, all the festive playlists get done before this date, so you need to release it then." So we released it, and like no other Christmas songs were released at the same time. Everything else came after. We're like, well, I think somebody's lied.
You gotta beat them. Gotta beat them to the chase.
Yeah, it'll just get earlier and earlier next year.
February.
When were you last out in Nashville? Because you mentioned, writing Dancing in the Dark there.
Oh.
We're not writing Dancing in the Dark, recording.
Yeah, I think it was September, was it?
September.
Yeah.
But
we actually, Dancing in the Dark was the time before. But we played, it was that kind of one day festival in Dunfermline called Out With Festival. And
that was a good lineup. I had Idlewild and stuff on it.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really good for the town as well. But we played that, and then it got to like 1 a.m. and Callum was like, "Right, Robbie, go home. We need to go home because we're flying at 6."
And you were driving.
And I was driving. So yeah, that was a very tough journey.
How long were you out there for when you went out?
Just a week.
Yeah, a week. And then we came back the same day as we went down to this cottage we go to go write. So yeah, it was a very long couple of weeks.
Just writing constantly for 2 weeks.
One of the highlights of that Nashville trip, it was not even in Nashville, it was we dropped off the car in like a, you like drop your car off like near like Glasgow airport, and there's a bus that like takes you, it's like a place where you can park the car,
like park and ride thing.
And this guy that was driving, it was just me and Robbie on this wee minibus, and this guy was just so funny, and he's like, what are you doing in America then? And Robbie's like, we're writers, but he must have thought we were like story writers. And he's like, I do a bit of writing myself. And we're like, alright. And he's like, yeah, alright, I've wrote this story about this Rangers fan, this Rangers dad. He always just gets drunk and then goes and fights people at the games and that.
Nice.
Autobiographical.
Yeah. How long have you been like working for today? And he's like, he's in my last trip. He's like, I'm gonna go home. He's like, I'm gonna have 2 fried egg rolls and 2 bottles of Desperados and then go to bed.
We were just hanging at 6 o'clock in Paisley. What is going on?
Is it quite intense when you're over in Nashville?
It's getting easier, I think. It was quite overwhelming when we were first there. Because we went separately the first times we went as well. So Callum went himself, and then I went over myself, and so it kind of, by the time the first time came where we went together, we were still kind of getting used to everything, and it's like a machine. Like you get booked in, like I don't know, like 11:2 or something like that with a writer, and then you have another one in the afternoon, or you can be doing 3 a day. It's a lot less relaxed than I thought it was going to be.
You signed to a Nashville label, aren't you?
Yeah. They're called LV Music, which is they've been great to us. They've been really good. It's a small kind of independent one, and it's ran by this woman called Femke, who was actually just over recording with us, so she produces our stuff as well. But no, she's been really supportive as well. But no, it's good. It's completely different to, we've done some writes over here and like down in London and stuff, and it's just a lot more relaxed here. But then I suppose in Nashville everything costs so much money, so.
Was it quite expensive, kind of?
Oh god, yeah, like very, very expensive. You're talking like $7-8 for 2/3 of a pint anywhere you go. Like,
raging.
Yeah, come on.
It's festival prices.
That
is,
yeah. On Broadway.
No, it is good. It's just like I mean, the good thing about like writing over there is like I think when we first went over, we were kind of worried that it was just gonna be like we were gonna sit in a room and people were gonna write a song, and be like, oh, that's your song. But it was like you go in and they're like, what have you got? So it's like they're like there to like help you write a song. They're not writing the song for you. So like usually like we come in with a song already, and it's just like making some tweaks and then like putting like, and then they make these like demos that just like sound like they could be actual songs.
Yeah.
So like we were like sending like a demo back to like the guys, and they're like, girls, like, it just sounds like you could like release it already. But like they do it always like in like so far into like one style of music that we have to like take it right back. Like one of the songs that we just recorded like sounded like a Wham song.
Nothing wrong with
demo,
that.
which was like great, but then we were like, right.
Proper jangly keys all the way.
Yeah, like we were like, right, we're gonna have to like try and make the sound a bit more like dancing on tables there.
We've got another one which is like an amazingly written song, and then one of the guys that we were writing it with was just like, kind of, what are you thinking? Because we wrote it and then recorded bits. He's like, do you want me to just kind of do my thing on it for the actual demo? We're like, yeah, you just go with what you think's good. And then we listened to it. It's like a proper like Calvin Harris house remix. It's a brilliant song and it sounds amazing, but it was just surreal to be sitting there thinking, I'm sure that isn't what we wrote.
I don't remember saying that. Like.
Do you think they've made you better songwriters going over there and doing those kind of like working with
I
them?
think it's like definitely helped. Like I think for me, like I'm always like I've been like good at like getting like melodies and stuff, but like actually like getting lyrics is always like I find like quite tricky. So it's like watching like how they work and stuff has like been like really helpful to like now when I'm like just trying to do writing by myself and kind of like have these like different kind of like methods of like getting like actually like stuff onto paper rather than just kind of like dilly-dallying, as well as like just the way they kind of do it is like, you know, you go in and say your write is at 11 and you'll probably be done within like 2 or 3 hours. And it's like usually if like we were like writing before, it would just be like, you know, you write like a chorus and then you're like, that was good, right? Like get back on the FIFA next for a bit, yeah. And then you just like, it takes so long to write a song, whereas now it feels like, you know, you can get them done in a day and just like have this like huge catalogue of stuff to just like pick from, which is like much easier.
I think it's good as well because like for us working together when we're not there, because Callum's obviously got the music, the classical music degree or whatever, like completely understands all the concepts and theories of music, and I've got grade 2 piano and just just kind of know what sounds like quite a good song, so it's helped us kind of gel together for when we're doing stuff here as well, which I think we probably needed because I'm a bit out of my depth at times.
I didn't know you had a classical music degree.
Yeah, so I went to Edinburgh and did a degree there where I was doing like piano performance for 3 years and then composition for my last year, which was like great fun because I was doing that along with the band, and it's like going to like play like live shows with the band, and then like my last year we were like commissioned to like write a piece to be performed by like the Scottish Chamber Orchestra, and like it got like performed at like the degree show, which was like really cool.
It's crazy, yeah.
So like I ended up doing like our song "Oh," I ended up like kind of using that as like the base of the song, and then like making like a song for like a string orchestra for it, which was like really fun because like, and then to actually hear it be played too was like very cool. But
I did accounts, which wasn't as cool. I had to like fight. I remember going in 4th year, I'm really sorry I won't be able to be at next week's tutorial. Like we're recording in Manchester, like this really cool studio. Like Elbow have their rehearsal space there. She's like, well, that's not good enough. You're a full-time student. You need to be here full-time. I was like, yeah, I know, but I kind of can't. And she's like, well, we're going to have to take this higher because you missed one before. I was like, yeah, I missed one before because I was playing a festival. I was doing this. And she's like, it's not acceptable. So, yeah.
They maybe don't have the same kind of open mind towards
no,
music.
But yeah, I got it done, but they did not like me. in my dissertation, the like first comment was surprising work for somebody who showed so little effort.
Oh.
Is that a compliment?
Got the 2-1.
Got it. Not using that again.
What was the one you wrote in America? Was that the one you wrote in Nashville?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the first one that on my first trip. Yeah, that was like the first thing that we wrote when we were out there, which was just like, I think it's like it was like quite different to anything we'd released before, like a lot kind of poppier, which I think was like quite like a kind of turning point for us. And it's just like, it's still just a great song to do because like, I mean, it's just so simple, and like it's that kind of thing when you're playing like shows with like big crowds and you're like, do you want to sing along? It's like, it's not hard to learn. Like, like, oh, like, you don't even have to sing in tune. You just kind of go, oh. Then, like,
you just do one long drone and
yeah,
it sounds about right.
It's an ego booster, you know.
Yeah.
You've got that in quite a few of your songs as well, don't you? That
yes.
crop up here and there.
Oh baby.
They've been caught out. Yeah, literally, I think. Missing,
Stick to a formula.
Oh. Stay's got oohs and ahs, 20's got oh, like kind of like a rather than that
tried something different for that one.
So I think in the stuff a couple of the songs that we recorded in the studio last week, they've got O's
heavy
and
O's.
Well, you figured out my formula.
Gonna turn the podcast in a bit of a quiz for a moment.
Oh, see?
Oh.
Can't help it.
Which Dancing in Tables music video do you think I appear in? Because I pop up in one of them.
Oh, are you in 20?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, are you? Yeah.
That was the first time I saw you, was up at Drummond's in Aberdeen.
Yeah, that was
2018, I think.
Yeah,
March. Fancy ones. Moonlight Zoo were up for that as well, actually.
Yeah, we had like a kind of co-headline tour called it Dancing in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
You actually, I didn't know what it was.
But then we like had that kind of meeting before with everyone going through the logistics, and we're like, well, we do a big band cover with all of us at the end of Dancing in the Moonlight. We're like, yeah, that's amazing. And then it slowly transpired that half of us were thinking of the top loader version, and half of us were thinking
the 70s version.
Yeah, we were like, we were thinking like top loader, and then Moonlight Zoo were like, oh, do you know what I mean? The Thin Lizzy version. We're like, the
what's
Thin
that?
Lizzy version. So it never happened.
Because the top loader one's a cover, isn't it?
Oh,
is it?
Or is it like taking the old one and doing something about that? I can't remember. They're pretty. They're the 70s version that sounds eerily similar.
So many layers.
The Shrek of music.
I remember when I saw you at that show, I must have been like 16 or something.
Yeah, no, that was a cool show. That video's got my flatmate Hamish, or my old flatmate Hamish, who's
sarcastically being like,
yeah.
But I remember thinking when I went to that show, like I didn't know who you were or what you're about, thinking you're this kind of, massive kind of band toured around the world. What do you think about? Do you think how closely do you feel like people's expectations match up? Like people who maybe aren't into local music match up to what the life of being in a band is actually like at this level.
I mean, it's
probably
it's a pretty tough life to have in reality. Like, it's amazing when we do things, and like the tour that we're doing in March, we're away for 17 days, and I cannot wait for that. It's going to be the best time, but you've got so many days in between where you've just been away for 3 weeks and you've not earned any money. When you're away and you come back and suddenly you're skint and you're standing in a coffee shop for 9 hours, just thinking yesterday you had hundreds of people singing your songs at you. Like the levels that you have to go are so up and down all the time, and
it's a weird contrast. It must be quite tough readjusting as well.
Yeah, I went from the night after we played Catfish on the Friday night, and then I went back to work at like 8:00 in the morning on Saturday, and people are like, how is the show, Callum? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I was just like, this is like probably, I've just had like the best day of my life, and this is like now feeling like the worst day of my life. I've got like, people going like, excuse me, my latte's not very hot. really don't
tell that to Van McCann,
eh? I just played the fucking idol. It's that kind of thing, like, obviously when you get shows like those, it's like such like a euphoric feeling playing them, but then obviously like you're gonna like, when we like go back to playing shows like around like Scotland and England, it's like we're gonna be going back to like, especially England, we're gonna be playing like 100-cap venues and stuff, and like maybe even like for like a lot of them like still just like half filling them, because it's just like just gradual like like growth. For us anyway, it's like some other like people like have this like way of just like blowing up. But I think for like most bands that you see, like it's like, you know, they'll get like, you know, some big support slots here and there, but then when they come back down to their own headlines, it's like just slowly building up like small shows and like get bigger and bigger and bigger. But
yeah, there's no kind of like, I mean, I think when we got the Catfish shows and we're like, right, this is kind of like, this is our break, if you know what I mean, but it's our chance to get to the next level rather than bringing us straight up there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you've got that name behind you, you got those shows and all those, like, thousands of extra people who got to see you, but now we just have to do like double the work. I think that noise was my brother coming in the door. I warned him this was happening, so he better not be making any noise.
No,
he's all good. Shut it, Jamie! I'm on a podcast! But yeah, no, it's. I mean, it was an amazing opportunity, but as I say, so many ups and downs, and you just don't know. Like, we didn't know that the Catfish show was happening until 5 days before, so you just don't know what's coming up, and
there could be something else around the corner that's
you have to be like ready
big.
to just like drop everything as well. Like, you can't really book plans to do anything, like, because if something else comes up, you have to just drop them. Like,
I mean, even like stuff if someone drops at a festival, you know, you might then get
could
called.
get the message.
So you can't have like any holidays booked for summer or anything. That's what will be off the cards.
Like we don't really go, and we'll maybe go for the odd weekend away, kind of like when we get a chance, but we don't do. You don't book holidays. People, I've sold 5 tickets for gigs in the last year. Like, I genuinely think that my friends must think that I just don't like them, because our boys have got some bad news, and oh, fuck's sake, not again. can't go to this show.
Oh, you've missed Idols,
Fontaine's DC in the last couple of weeks.
You missed Fontaine's.
I did, which was described. The review I read was people will be talking about this gig for years to come, saying I was there. I will be saying I was not there.
I had a ticket, but
yeah,
you were.
We had to.
Make it.
We were in the studio. Yeah, the Strokes.
Really annoyed.
I was, and the boys love reminding me of how annoyed I am about missing things. We missed. I had to sell my ticket for the Strokes, in the summer, and Chemical Brothers. They were down. It was All Points.
Oh, was that the one in London?
All Points East, I think it was.
That's a sick lineup as well.
It's amazing. It's amazing. My friends every time I see my friend Angus goes, "Oh yeah, when we went to see the Strokes, in the best weekend of my life." And it's not just that.
So annoyed.
Yeah, I'm still annoyed.
Yeah,
you can see you starting to fume at the thought.
Oh, yeah, we'll just move on.
Find another talking point.
Get those questions out, Alex.
I did actually want to ask about the cottage, because we've touched on it a few times, but I've not gone in properly. So how many times have you been up there?
Ooh.
Sounds quite ominous, actually. The cottage, it's like a horror film.
Yeah, the cabin in the woods.
Have you been like 4 times now?
Yeah,
I think 4. Yeah, it's just great. Like, and like you see so many other bands using it as well. Like, because it's such good value as well. Like, you get like the place to stay, and then you have like a studio next door where you can either just like rehearse, record, and then it's just in like the most beautiful setting as well. So like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just
what sort of stuff has been written and worked on up there that you've done?
We kind of, or recently anyway, we've been using it to like grab the ideas that we get, or like the songs that we write out in Nashville, and we'll go and we'll just work like full band demos of them, so we'll kind of get everybody involved, and we'll change bits about. And
so is that why you got straight off the plane and went there?
Yeah,
last time you were in Nashville?
So we literally had like, we've been sending the files over as we were recording them, and then went straight there and started doing full band versions of them, which is really handy to have. We have done some writing. We wrote "Stay" just from scratch there, which was really fun as well. A couple of songs that we've not released yet have been written there too.
So is "Stay" part of the next EP as well?
"Stay's" going to be on the next EP.
I wanted to ask, what's the wee symbol thing that you've had on the, because it's on the corner of that, and I noticed you've all got t-shirts with it on it.
We've all got t-shirts. Yeah, we're kind of slowly introducing it, and we are going to, every gig we play, people are like, "Oh, can I buy your t-shirts?" And, "Oh, we're really sorry, these were made for us." But we are going to make t-shirts to sell to everyone. But it's just like it was originally a logo, and it originally said dancing on it, and it kind of looks, it's got a wee dot for DOT, and it kind of looks like a table, and it kind of looks like a wee person, but it also just looks quite cool.
It looks like some kind of ancient type
Well,
symbol thing.
My girlfriend's mum was like, "Oh, have you checked that that's not a massively offensive word in Chinese?" And I've not had the heart to Google because I'm terrified that it is.
It's quite a nice symbol. Yeah.
No, yeah, like because we had like obviously got like our logo, and then we were, like thinking for like, especially for like playing shows, like something just annoying, like going like, what am I gonna wear, like, and then if you're like playing like a load of shows in a row, it's just quite nice to just have like, we've just got a bunch of t-shirts with the same thing on them, and it's just like, right, you don't have to think about that, and then it's something cool to kind of like sell as merch that doesn't necessarily look like band merch, which I like. We kind of wanted like something that could just be like a cool t-shirt as opposed to like
sticking the name or the like
just sticking
the
like
artwork on
tables
something,
on it or something.
So when you go on tour now, do you wear them like every show?
Yeah.
Just washing them in the sink of the hotel
Band
before every show.
Yeah, no, like, we've got like 3 each, and then we've got this like I think we've got like 11 or 10 shows in a row in England, like in March. We're like, we're gonna need to get some more t-shirts. Reese is a sweaty boy.
On a night.
And I was ordering them all, and it was a friend of ours who like makes clothes that said she'd embroider them for us. So I like ordered them all, dropped them off, everything, gave everyone theirs, and Hamish is like, "I've not got a black one." I'm like, "Oh," and I looked back on the order. I just hadn't ordered him one of the 3 colours.
So
he only has 2. Yeah,
and he's probably the sweatiest out of the I think he goes to like 3 t-shirts a day. Like you'll wear one in the van in the morning, and then you'll get to like sound check, and he'll be like, "I'm absolutely sweating, boys." And he'll put like on another t-shirt, and then he'll put it on his t-shirt for the gig, and then he'll put on like back into another t-shirt. Something wrong with him.
What's some of the biggest challenges you face when you're on tour, like kicking back on the road? Actually, here's a question for you. It's something I've not always wondered. That makes it sound a bit weird, but I was pondering the other day. How do you get a haircut on tour?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Screw it out.
Like,
Reese and Gregor went for one in
Bristol.
I think it was Bristol, yeah. And it's just like googling barbers and phoning them up, going, "Do you have room?" And just
that's ropey though. What if you get a
I know
bad haircut in the middle of a tour when you're getting photographed every night?
Shocking.
Just Callum Thomas and just shave it all off.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back to that when we're touring a lot. It'll be a lot easier just shaving it every day.
And just the Jack Steadman.
Yeah, what other things do you come up against when you're...
I think just like food is a big thing, because like, well, to get like wherever you're staying, to get it, you want to get it as cheap as possible, which usually means you're staying out of the centre, which usually means it's like a 20-minute drive from like the venue to where you're staying. So then it's like you get there, you sound check, and then you're like, right, and you've got like maybe like an hour and a half to like get back, get changed, make dinner, and then go back. So then half the time you're like, oh well, there's no point going back, so like we'll just buy food. And then you don't want to like buy like nice food because it's too expensive, so you end up just buying like chips. And it's just like chips and cheese, or just crap. And you just like, honestly, I think every time, that's the worst thing, is that you come up back from like tour and you just like can't wait to like just have like
eat normal food,
just like vegetables,
salad, and like I don't know, just like stuff that's actually been like cooked properly and it's not just processed.
We've kind of we have our last tour anyway. Get a little porridge pot for 50p for breakfast, and that does you most of the day, and then 150 for a pack of tortellini, which you split into 2 days, and that's pretty sorted.
Yeah.
But like,
spinach and ricotta tortellini.
Oh yeah. Oh, four
four
cheese
cheese
as well. Oh
yeah.
baby. Oh baby, 4 cheese.
Not for me.
Callum's lactose intolerant and just continually forgets.
Well, I don't forget. I'm still gonna eat pizza because
Callum, that's a margarita pizza. I know.
I get so angry though. He's just like, I'll be sitting like tucking into like a cheese pizza, and he's like, "What are you doing, Callum?" I'm like, listen, I want a pizza.
Surely lactose.
But yeah, it's so hard to eat healthy, and like I am gonna like put our manager in it. One of the day we were driving back, he had 18 inches of Subway, and then went home and had like a calzone for tea, like a takeaway, like
And
crappy.
he's
cows.
not
That's
even-
pushing the boat out. That's
he's not even a big guy, and he just eats utter nonsense.
Like, just crap every day, and like KFC. But then everyone loves
the
the KFC.
Love
to see the Colonel.
That's all we talk about at the van. Like, if it's been like a couple of days, and somebody will just go, "Anyone thinking Colonel? Oh, surely Colonel."
Right.
so you take away a choice. Go for KFC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were driving back one time. We were like, let's get a KFC on the way back as a treat. And we were running low on petrol, and we were like to Neil, like, we need to like stop and get petrol soon. And he was like waiting for a KFC, and it was just not one turning up, and there was just like slowly. I think we were on like 0 for like
Yeah.
a good like 10-15 miles, and then finally one showed up, and everyone's been shouting at Neil, and he was just like, told you. So
How long's Neil been with the band? Because he kind of feels a little bit like the sixth member.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's been with us for 4. I mean, we've been together like technically for like 6 years, but I think we've only been like, I think I would only say we like started doing stuff properly when Neil came along, which has probably been about like 4 years ago or something.
But what were the first 2 years then? Was that just kind of like being in a band with your mates?
Just like school shows and just.
I think we
Not just
supported every band in Dunfermline.
Yeah.
We were just on at like 7:15
And then
every Friday and Saturday.
playing horrible pubs, and we played this. Was it Whistle Binkies? Or some? It was
What,
something like that. We played in Edinburgh, and I think Callum was 16, and we turned up to play the show.
That was poetry in the summer.
Oh, that was it.
It was like
Is that a fringe show?
for a fringe show,
Yeah.
but the guys that had organised it hadn't, told us that you had to be over 18. So like got there, like dropped off stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna use the toilet. So I went to the bar, and I was like, oh, where's your bathroom, by the way? And she's like, can I see your ID? And I was like, I just want to pee. And she just wouldn't let me use the toilet, and I was like, I'm also playing. And she was just like, well, you can't, because you can't be here. So then like we went to these guys like, you never told us. Oh, sorry.
I was like, we all paid for a train over. Like, we need some kind of payment. And he brings out shrapnel from his pockets. He's like, you can have this. It's all the money I've got. And then we're like, I'm not taking that. Oh, I can make you a website. Okay. So we made a website, which we never ever used.
Wow. At least you got something out of it.
It's just the worst.
When you started off, because I remember I think I wrote a live review of one of your shows, because what your music is, it's kind of like this mesh between like your kind of pop influences and your more rock influences, and I said it shouldn't work, but it does really well.
Yeah. I didn't know where that was going.
It shouldn't work. It doesn't. Why am I doing this podcast?
And I just got you on this podcast to say I hate you,
And you've been punked.
Barney and the Ninjas come out.
You thought it was your
Patrol.
thought it was your brother creeping down the stairs. We've got cameras through the corner. They're coming in.
It's Barney and the Ninjas coming in. Gang Patrol.
I was going to ask you, what point did it always work from the beginning, or what point did it actually start to click those two kind of juxtaposing
It used
influences
to
of
be
the
a lot
band?
more like rocky and bluesy before, I think, and then I think
Before you started writing songs.
and I ruined it. I don't know. I think like when we did like the Don't Stop, when Don't Stop came out and stuff like that, it started to get a bit more kind of poppy. And then like after that, like I'm slowly just like
Slowly working your way
pushing
into
out the
the
guitars, and everyone's just gonna be on synthesizers.
So was there stuff that came out before Don't Stop that is no longer
No.
anywhere?
Yeah, I actually the other week I actually listened to like all the private songs that we have on SoundCloud, like all the old tracks and everything, and Jesus, some of them are just so bad. Some of them it's so obvious where like one of the pre-Callum songs, I can't remember the exact wording, but I'm listening to it and you can just tell that I've not been able to think of anything that fits with that word, so just made up a complete new sentence. I can't think of an example. This is a terrible anecdote. But yeah, I'll just like say a word and I'm like, that isn't even a word.
It's got nothing relating to it, yeah.
Yeah, nothing at all.
But then how old would you be when you were writing that kind of stuff?
Oh, like 15.
Yes, yeah, it's like...
I was a wee idiot.
It's good. Like, were you... What age did you start writing songs then? Because that's... we were in a band at 15, that's quite...
Yeah,
Really?
I got a guitar when I was 14, so
That's even more
Probably
impressive than getting a
tried
guitar and then a
then.
year later you're already.
You still can't play.
Still
the
can't
guitar.
play it, no. I can do my power chords. That is all.
I used to be in a band before I joined Dancing on Tables, and I listen to stuff sometimes, and it is like painfully bad. It's like the thing I was saying. I struggle with lyrics, and I was just writing absolute dribble, like to the point where somebody was just like listen to them and be like, "Well, what does this mean?" I'm like, you just didn't really get it. Like it was just like
Didn't get it.
it was yeah. I don't even want to think about it.
Had to be there.
It was like really bad.
I remember when Callum had just joined us and he was playing this school show because like we're all still at school, and I went to go see him, and like we'd written a couple of songs together and maybe I'd been together a couple of months, and then Callum standing playing this song and I was like, "Wee dick, that's better than any of the songs he's written for us."
Can we have that one?
Yeah, no, looking back, David. Although the very, very first, that probably isn't actually true. The very first song that Callum kind of brought to us in our first practice was, "Oh, this is a wee thing that I've been doing," and we wrote it, and it's this song called Susie, and people in Dunfermline still ask us to play it at shows because everybody still likes it for some reason.
What was it? Was it written about Dunfermline or?
No, it's just because it was only ever people in
It was a
Dunfermline.
dribble song.
Yeah. I mean, only people in Dunfermline knew it, and I don't think anybody has actually listened to it in about 6 years. But like all the kind of pals that we had back then, who were the only ones coming to the shows, "Oh, play Susie, play
I
Susie."
think people liked it because it had a swear word.
Yeah.
I won't tell you which
Edgy.
one. I'll leave that to the imagination. My mum was not happy.
Because was Wonderland that was written about Dunfermline?
Yeah. That was a cool one. That was one where we went into write, and like the guy was just kind of asking questions about us, and he was like, "Oh, like why don't we write a song?" Because we were saying, "Oh, we're from Dunfermline, and you know this is what it's like in Dunfermline." He said, "No, let's write about that." So that was, I mean, some parts aren't as related to Dunfermline as other parts, but overall it's
kind of centered around it.
yeah, it's based around the idea of kind of going all over the world and coming back, and you've got this kind of special place that's always going to stay the same and always going to be there for you.
Yeah. Was there anything you centered the EP around? Because I was last night again. I was listening to it. It's quite an interesting EP because it's quite a collective kind of mix of songs. Like they're quite
like
different to each other. They kind of got that Dance on Tables thing like running through the spine of them, but overall they're quite different to each other.
When we were like getting to the point of like the EP, we were kind of like, we had never like, I think we're quite bad for like leaving like stuff like themes and like trying to get like, I don't know, like something to base everything around. So like when we got to the point where like, right, we need like a name for this like EP, and we were kind of like thinking, and I think what like we'd been through like a lot of kind of like changes like within the band, like well like just through with the band and stuff, so we're kind of like transposed because it sounded like a kind of nice word, but like this EP, like it's been like this one that it's coming out, it's like a lot more kind of thought out in terms of like the name and like the themes that are going with it and stuff, and like it's actually like worked like really well. Like we were kind of just looking for something that was like a theme within all these songs, and there's like this kind of ongoing theme which I won't tell you because
spoilers.
Yeah. No, it's. I think that last EP as well was, like, it was a kind of changing point for us in the EP as a whole, and we'd kind of been trying to find that sound that we really wanted to, like, what we wanted Dancing Tables to be, and I think those releases were us kind of testing, pushing different ways a little bit.
It's kind of like an in-between EP.
Yeah,
like if you look at, like, say, like Art of Monkeys albums, for example, like between Humbug and AM, you've got Suck It and See, which kind of feels like an in-between album, like Bridging the Gap. Is that kind of what the EP was about?
Yeah, I think it's definitely that kind of idea. Like, it's a kind of stepping stone in our music to the music that we're about to put out now.
And just seeing like what was like gauging people the most, because I think like the last one was like Oh and Missing and 20, which are all just those kind of like big like anthemic stuff. So then like we wanted to like see what other stuff was like gauging, like, you know, it was like Stereo was like a lot more rocky, it was like Black, which is like a lot more poppy, there was like Colour Me Good, which is more kind of just like upbeat indie, and we were just seeing like which like ones were like gauging like
So is the next one a little bit more cohesive as well? Do they kind of sound a little similar to each other as opposed to the
I feel like
contrasting?
these ones all kind of, they seem to like, I don't know, they seem to all fit together more. Like it was, like we obviously like did like wrote most of the stuff like in Nashville, but then we brought like everything back, and that was when we went to the cottage, and the band, like we made it like the songs like sound how we wanted to sound them as well. So like it was like this, I don't know, they all kind of feel like they glue together like really well. Like
I think the last EP as well was done so, like there was songs that were recorded like 2 years apart, or written 2 years apart even.
Was this the transpose one?
Yeah, and whereas this one's kind of, it's all been done knowing what it's going for. Like these songs have been written knowing that they're going on this EP, and we've kind of been thinking about them, talking about them as we're writing, and we're like, right, what do we think's missing? Like, let's try this to see if it goes with the songs that we have already, and it's just all more planned out and all a bit more cohesive.
Yeah. So there's a new one.
Oh yeah,
Cohesive. It's a nice word.
I googled that before this.
I think
You've got a list in your phone of words you want to include in the podcast.
I've got a dictionary in my lap under the table.
I think these songs are enigmatic.
Don't know what that means.
Is the artwork all connected to the next EP? Because I liked what you did with the Space Race one, where you've got all the zebras and stuff kicking.
Yeah.
That wasn't even planned though. The Space Race one. No, that was.
It was Gregor's cousin did
Yeah.
all the artwork, but like
Maybe he had an overarching can I do?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
must have. He knew what we
He had
needed.
a massive plan.
I know what you want.
You're getting it.
Yeah, like he just. I think what was after like, it was like Body, I think, or. Or
Yeah,
something.
Body.
But like
Maybe.
whatever one he like did this like animal thing, we were like, this is like really cool. So then he just like carried that on. But like yeah, for this EP, we did that. So the last like artworks have all been done by Gregor's cousin, and now this set of artworks have been done by Hamish's cousin, who's like, she's like amazing. But like we've kind of like, I think we've got the theme, so like we've got the idea of like everything. So like I think there will be like a connection between everything, ideally.
Yeah.
Either of you got any cousins that you can work in the story of the band?
My cousins would be terrified at that thought. My cousin got his free jeans, so that's a good start.
My cousin's a medic, so if one of us falls over, she can
get a bit loose.
You were kind of speaking there about how the new EP that's coming out next year is different, and the one before was kind of like an in between step between the two. What do you think is the main driver for change that's pushing you forward in like the band's evolution? That's changing the sound, because the sound is changing. Like you can see it kind of progressing from that Space Race to this one. And even with Stay, you can kind of hear where it's starting to go a bit different.
I think you see like, I think for me anyway, it was like starting to like write songs that we want to make and play, rather than just writing songs that sound like the bands that I like.
What sort of bands we try to emulate?
I don't know, it's like before I was kind of like, just thought like, I've always like kind of just loved like stuff like Maccabees, or like just like kind of upbeat like indie stuff, and I think that was like, we were like always trying to like go for something like that. And then when we started doing other stuff like Don't Stop, or like with these like big choruses, and then you see like that sort of like missing, especially like a song like that, which is like kind of even got like kind of housey pop feel, but you see like people really like reacting well to it, and you're like, you want to write music. I think we want to write music that people like can like dance to and have fun to, and like I think like before like we'd write stuff and we were like, I want it to sound like just like this, whereas like now it's like, we'll have like obviously like ideas and stuff, and like I mean, I'm pretty sure like every like we go into, I just like bring a Japanese house song, and I'm like, I want to do something like that, but it never sounds like a Japanese house song. It's like always like we've got like kind of big choruses, and yeah, I think it's like now like we want to like we know the stuff that we want to write, whereas before we were like weren't sure what we wanted to write.
I think we're a bit more confident within ourselves as well. Like we've been doing this a few years now, and we've been with our label a couple of years, and it's not like we're out, we're trying to impress people, or we're trying to like pretend we're people that we're not, to look better as we're kind of starting to make our name. That I think we're fairly confident that we are dancing tables now, and we know what we're doing, and we are proud of the stuff we're putting out now, rather than trying to do what we think people want us to do.
Yeah, it's like almost because I think like we kind of come under now like as like a pop band, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think it's like almost like when you're like younger, there's this kind of thing. It's just like pop's a bit lame, but like pop's cool, man.
Yeah. Pretty
And
cool.
like, so I think it's just like always like it's coming to like times like right, like we're writing like kind of pop rock music, like so let's write this kind of music rather than like trying to like avoid it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Just been a bit more confident in your kind of sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think that's something it's good bands kind of go into that progression of, don't they? Like,
Yeah, like I think as well, like when we play live, like everything's like a bit more rocky and there's like a lot of energy. So like, that's like another great thing is that like it's like different experiences when you come and see us and when you listen. Like, I think like you
I can
like,
sing in tune when we're recorded. Yeah.
do you feel more confident on stage now then if you've kind of gotten a bit more confident in your music?
I think so. Like, I think we've all like. One thing I always struggle to do is like speak, like, but then like at those like 2 Catfish shows, like we were all like really really like nervous, like before, like Hamish was like puking in the bathroom. Like
I saw your pep talk. Like in the video, you kind of catch a bit. You're like kind of.
I had this thing planned and then started it, and I don't know, it just didn't work at all.
What sort of thing were you saying in the?
Well, I was just saying that that this. I went more Neil Warnock, a bit more aggressive.
Hairdryer treatment.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that this is what we've been working towards, and my whole thing was, when we're out there, like think of every kind of shitty job we've done over the past few years, and every annoying customer, and every missed family event and holiday, and every time your girlfriend's been annoyed at you, and from every sacrifice we've ever made, like just channel that and just give it everything, which I didn't really click. And then before the Hydro show, Hamish just went, "Boys, if you think you're giving it 100%, give 10% more." I was like, I should have just went for that, because that was the perfect pep talk that we needed.
Wait, so was the pep talk for the first one Aberdeen?
Aberdeen. Yeah, and then I think because once we got Aberdeen out of the way, when it came to the Hydro, we kind of knew what was happening, and we knew relatively what to expect, and it was a lot more relaxed.
I think like as soon as we saw people like jumping straight away, we were like, right, like
yeah.
And you're always going to get a crowd in Glasgow.
Well, one biggest thing is like you see like sometimes just like crowds in Glasgow, just if they don't like you, they'll just like they'll let you know. Like I remember seeing, I saw the Maccabees at the Barrowlands, and he was like, everyone's like screaming, cheering, because obviously like knew this was like one of the last shows that they were gonna do, and he was like, "Oh, it's so nice to like come back to Glasgow and people cheering." He's like, "We supported Kasabian in Glasgow last time," and he was like, and everyone was just.
You don't want to be. I don't think Maccabee supporting
Kasabian
Kasabian is the right kind of crowd.
I feel so bad because he's just like the sweetest man in the world, just like getting the finger. So we were like a bit worried, but like the crowds were jumping and stuff. Like I think the most like kind of fear that we had was when we got on the stage for Aberdeen, and like we had this thing, like this sample that triggers. It's like this quote from like an old movie that's like in part of a song. And it like starts off the whole set, and like so Robbie like ducks down and he's like crouching by the kick drum, and we're all just kind of like facing the ground, and then there's just like nothing, and Reese is just looking at Gregor and like.
This is Gregor's laptop.
Gregor forgot to charge the laptop. So like we're just standing, Reese is going like Gregor. So like Gregor like comes over, like luckily like it just ran out of charge, so like plugs it back in.
Password in.
Walks away, like he's like, "I don't know your password." So he comes back again, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, the sample's not working." Gregor has to change like the bit rate on the samples. Like it was just like, it felt like, I think it was like a good 2.5 minutes we were just standing there like that.
My thighs were burning as well, because I'd crouched down, like mic in the air above my head, like kind of as I normally do, like beside the bass drum, and I'm crouched down, and it's got to like 2 minutes. I don't know how much longer I could do this, but I don't know what else I could do, because if I stand up, like I'm gonna have to do something else, and it's just gonna be awkward if I just gonna stand and stare at people. So no, I just held it out, and we got there in the end.
It can't be the worst thing in the world to start that off with that, because then you obviously kind of have it in your head. Nothing like that's gonna hopefully happen again in the rest of the set.
Yeah.
In theory.
And we played like there's like a five. It was like Dunfermline Press, like our local newspaper. They do like an awards night every year, and they do like, you know, like the best live band of the year. And we were up for it a few years ago, and like you go up and you play a song, and then if you win, you get to play another song. And so like we went up, like, dancing on tables, like walk on, and like I'm a piano player and I can like play guitar, but I'm not great at it. I don't really get like electronics at all. So like I'm just shit with electric guitar. So basically we get on and I'm just like, oh, why is it not working? Like looking at all the pedals, checking the lead, and I'm just like, Hamish, like, and we're just standing there. Everyone's just kind of like dead silence in this big hall. Hamish has to walk over and he's just like, you've not turned your amp on. So like, turn the amp on, play, and I was like, and then we won the awards. We got to go up and play another song, and I was like, right, the amp song. And I was like, why am I not getting sound this time? I was like, I hadn't plugged myself in. I was like, I'm just so bad for doing stuff like that, like, just not checking anything. Like
the worst one was because we genuinely, that was what, 4 years ago maybe, and we like genuinely didn't expect to win that award.
What was the song you played to start with?
I couldn't even tell you honestly. It was probably Don't Stop maybe. But then we didn't expect to win the award, so went back to the table, had like a bottle of free wine each because we thought that was us done for the night. And then they call us up and we're like, oh my god.
No. Like Alex Turner at Brits.
Yeah. Invoice me for the lead.
That rock and roll.
In the Dunfermline Pavilion. So I'm done.
Right, we'll start to wrap this up a wee bit. I've got one left for you.
Okay.
What's the anecdote you whap out? What's your anecdote that you go to when you try to impress someone when you're meeting them for the first time? Not maybe the first time, but what's the story you tell? It's your party story. My
party story is when we were backstage at Kendall Calling.
It's a good start.
And yeah, so it always reels them in.
I was just, back of the main stage. Kendall.
One of the many festivals I did this year, I think it was Kendall maybe. They all blur into one, to be honest. Yeah, very popular. Yeah, and we'd been chatting to C6 Steve for ages, and he had this bottle of wine, and then he was just drinking from the bottle, and then this woman walked past. He's like, excuse me, can you find me Tiny? I'm like, what? He's like, Tiny, I need to see Tiny Temper. We're like, why does C6 Steve want to see Tiny Temper? Turns out they did a Top Gear special together. But like, we'd been chatting for like half an hour, and he was asking us loads of things. We were getting on really well, and then I spotted Frank Turner walking past, who was like the reason that I got a guitar in the first place, and I just thought, oh, like really cool to say that to him backstage at this festival. So I was like, Steve, I just need to go see Frank. I'll see you later. And apparently he was quite annoyed by this. So he's the most like zen, chilled guy, and I managed to.
Was that the first time you'd met him?
Piss him off. Yeah. But yeah, we haven't seen him since. I haven't been able to apologise.
He's not answering your call.
No. Hi Steve, Robbie again.
Stevie, I'm sorry, man.
Stevie boy.
I can't believe they did a Top Gear special together.
I know, I've still not watched it either.
Were you on Pointless?
I was on Pointless.
When was that?
See if that's my anecdote for if there's ever any technical issues on stage. And I've got to say something.
I was on Pointless.
People kind of cheer and I go, I won a trophy. They cheer. Didn't win any money. No, I won. I'll show you the trophy after this.
Oh, I'm excited. When were you on Pointless?
So it was my mum's friend's husband is into his quiz shows, and they were round for dinner one night, and I went round to mum and dad's, and I was like, oh hi, can I pop in to say hello? And they'd all had some wine, and oh, Robbie, Jason's looking for somebody to go on Pointless with him. I was, I'll go on Pointless with you. Completely forgot about it, and got an email, and he was like, we're gonna go do an audition. I was like, all right, fair enough. Like, I'm free. I'll go do an audition.
Where was the audition?
In Edinburgh at the Marriott or something at a hotel.
Make it my out for that.
And then suddenly we got it. So I didn't really know this guy. I'd kind of spoke to him briefly, and all of a sudden I'm staying 2 nights in a hotel in London with him, or doing Pointless. So then we did it, and it was brilliant. And then it aired, and then all like so many tweets were like, "Oh yeah, sure, Robbie and Jason are just friends." Hashtag Pointless, because he's like a 45-year-old man.
I thought everyone was just calling you Ollie Sykes.
Ollie.
Yeah, hair was like really long. He had this like huge fringe at the time. It was just like everyone was like, "Why is Ollie Sykes on Pointless?"
How many years ago was this?
Just like last
2
year.
maybe.
2.
Yeah, I think it was end of 2017.
Peaked too early.
Yeah, I did. That was. I'll have to go and C-list celebrity Pointless in 10 years if I make it.
Do I know?
The
That's
winners
what
of the
you
show.
want. Sorry, Callum. We've set you up for the fall here. We've put the best anecdote out, and now you're gonna have to try and follow
I
it.
don't really. My story I tell people, which isn't a very like I'm cool story, is that not the last time we were coming back from Nashville, but the time before. Basically, we got Norovirus when we were traveling back.
What's that?
It's just like a
Horrendous
very
sick bug
very
thing.
like bad sick bug, and then essentially I was just puking for 28 hours. I puked on Robbie twice.
On a plane.
Robbie puked on an ex-army vet.
Oh.
I missed my plane. I passed out at security, like passport security. I was sick everywhere. Somebody moved away from me on the train home because I smelt that bad. But yeah, it's not really much of a cool anecdote. But it is a good story.
It's a funny story.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
My
interesting
other,
one to end the podcast on.
Yeah.
But,
I've got one. My favourite tour story. If we have time for one more.
do we have time?
Going back to my old flatmate Hamish Penman, who's in that video being very sarcastic,
Was he at the Aberdeen show?
He was at the Aberdeen show.
Is that the
very?
I was gonna say big guy.
He's the very limmy Englishman who, as in, like, throws his limbs about at gigs and jumping about. Yeah, that was
I was
him.
next to him.
Yeah. So he came. I think it was maybe after that show, and he came to Inverness with us as well, to do merch. In theory, he got very drunk and was sick and didn't sell any merch. But like we lost him, and then got a message from him saying, "Come hither." And like that was the only communication we had from him. Finally found him. He got obnoxiously massively drunk, and then we went for breakfast the next day at this like really, really nice cafe in Inverness. And we're sitting down there, and it's like really low tables, quite high chairs, and we're sitting, and I think it was our band Hamish just looked across the table, and just saw that Hamish had this massive rip in his trousers and these massively baggy boxers on, and his balls were just resting on this leather couch. He's like, Hamish, and he looked down, and then I looked around, and we're just like, it's just families, because it was a Saturday morning, and just like young people everywhere. I was like, oh my god, get me out. And that was the last.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, that was a bit embarrassing. What a boy.
And if you want to see Hamish, she'll be on tour with Dancing on Tables in March.
With working trousers.
Oh no! Thank you very much for doing this.
No, thank you for
It
having
was
us.
good.
It's been a lot of
I
fun.
enjoyed that chat. Yeah, it was nice.
A lot of fun.
But yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Do you want to say goodbye?
Bye,
Bye.
driver.